Hey, y'all, Toby here with PE Garage. Have you been doing a sheet metal fabrication project using a standard brake and thought that that crisp, sharp edge wasn't exactly the look that you were going for, but you didn't have an alternative? If that's the case, stay tuned. We're going to take a look at a brand new tool called the MultiRoll that's awesome for adding radius bends to your next project. Stay tuned. So the MultiRoll is a tool that's the brainchild of a fabricator by the name of Chris Jeske out of Tampa, Florida. And we're going to open this thing up and I'm going to show you what you get. So the one I purchased is the box and pan version. What we get. We get a clamping bracket. Woo, watch yourself. We get a clamping bracket and then the extruded MultiRoll. So what you see here is the extruded piece that will hold our sheet metal in place. And you can see it's got a rounded edge, unlike a standard brake. And because of the modular construction here, we can use it just like a box and pan. So MultiRoll suggests that you can clamp this in a standard brake, but the problem is this is a 60-inch box and pan radius brake, and my standard brake is only 48, so the bracket's too long. So I looked around and figured the easiest solution to this is to just clamp it to my welding table. So just a couple of clamps here. I've got this one loose so that I can slide them on. But the next step is to simply put the bending dies on the bracket. So here you can see the bracket, and the bending die has a corresponding kind of notched mounting point. So these just slide in place. And so once it's on, it's on. Okay, so it can't come off, and it makes it relatively easy to adjust. So the first thing I want to do is actually put a sharp 90 that'll form a flange on this piece in my handbrake. So we've added this 90-degree flange, and this will serve as a hidden attachment point. So once I get my radius bent into it, I will mark this and drill it with some rib nuts, and then I'll have a way to mount this radius panel with the fasteners completely hidden. So there you can see it. So if I mount that, I'll have a nice smooth radius bend. Something like this would be useful on top of a trans tunnel or as part of a console. It's got this nice soft radius edge. I could go in and add a bead roll detail to that to make it look even cooler. So here you get a look at the end. So a couple of things I could do with this. If this is butted up against something, I could just leave it as is. The MultiRoll comes with these little paper templates, this, that would allow me to actually bend this end as well, so that I've got a nice soft radius edge on all four sides. I didn't do that with this because I'm just kind of playing with it. So you can kind of see what that profile would look like depending on which of the corners you choose. You can also bend other profiles using a couple of attachments that come with the MultiRoll. So the first one is called a J channel. I'll slide that in place. So with this in place, I can now capture that edge and I can basically make that same radius bend without the flange. So whereas I had the flange before, I'm going to shear this off and show you what that looks like. So I can do this one of two ways. I can either put it in completely flat and add the radius this way, or I can add a 90 flange out and then I'll have a flat flange that would allow me to fasten this with exposed fasteners. So I'm going to try that. Okay, so I've added that 90-degree flange. I pinch that in place in the J-bend, J-bar rather, and then form it over the die. So now I have an exposed flange. So a piece like this might be useful on sheet metal that's maybe got some upholstery that's going to go over the top of it. So I could screw this down and then cover that attachment point using upholstery or some other type of trim panel. Okay, now this time we're just going to go straight in and make a curve with no flange like we would use over a tube. Got a nice soft radius bend there. So if I've got a panel that's going over a roll bar or some other type of rounded piece on my chassis, this will give me that rounded coverage that I'm looking for. So in this case, I would basically just round these edges off and I'd have a nice finished edge. And if I wanted to, I could attach fasteners here or come up with another way to affix that to the bar. So there you have it, the MultiRoll versatile radius brake. I think with a little more practice I could get a little bit better at it, but I'm certainly thinking about some cool ways that I could add some dimension into my next sheet metal project using this handy little tool. So if you're interested, check it out, multiroll.net. In addition to this 60-inch box and pan brake, there's a 120-inch standard brake, fully continuous. So until next time, this is Toby from PE Garage, signing off. Keep it radius, keep it rolled. Peace.